As you'll see, several of our speakers are joining again across the Americas, but also in Australia and New Zealand. And it's in fact in that context that this whole story actually began, because it was a series of posts by Jane Chapman, our first speaker from New Zealand, that really gave me the idea for Stories 250. In this case, she was telling us the story of one of her ancestors and his incredible journey during this period. And with that, I'm going to get out of the way and let Jane tell you a little bit about what this was all about, and then we'll just be going around the room. Go ahead, please, Jane.
Thanks, Barbara. Yeah, I'd written, I think, about 10 articles when Barbara came up with this idea, and which was really good. So I wrote about two of my ancestors. There was one article on Samuel Gray, my fourth great-grandfather, who was about 23 when the war broke out in 1775, and he was a patriot who fought on the North Carolina line. I knew very little about him, so I just wanted to record what I did know so far, and that was pretty much limited to what I had found out from the declaration he made about his Revolutionary War service, and he made that in a court under oath at the age of 81. So how accurate his memory was is debatable, but it was all part of his application for a pension under the 7th June 1832 Act of Congress. So that was one article that I think sparked this, and the other was a series of articles about Richard Lang. Now, Richard Lang had a very eventful life, which easily took up several posts. So, for the sake of brevity, I'll just say that the posts follow Richard's life from his childhood in South Carolina to his service as a loyalist during the Revolutionary War. He was in his early 30s when the war broke out. From there, towards the end of the war, he moved his wife and children to British East Florida as refugees. That was during the latter part of the war, where he could continue to be a British subject, live in British East Florida, and do occasional forays at the end of the war there in South Carolina. But then, when the Treaty of Paris was signed in September 1873 and the war ended, there were some little treaties, and one of those little treaties that went with it gave East Florida back to the Spanish. So at that point, Richard became a Spanish citizen. So he'd moved from British subject, loyalist soldier to Spanish citizen. And then when he, in 1795, he became a rebel leader. He led the East Florida Rebellion against the Spanish. That was after several things had happened that turned him against the Spanish. And eventually, having avoided capture, because it was a very short-lived rebellion, and he avoided capture by heading to Camden County in Georgia. And eventually, he became an American citizen in 1799. And he died in Georgia in 1817. So, as you can see, the articles I wrote sort of take him through a lot of different roles, from British subject to Spanish citizen to American citizen. So, I guess that is Richard in a nutshell.